when I first started doing online marketing, it was a byproduct of achieving good rankings that one would then begin to experience a significant amount of inquiries. At that time, people, quite frankly, didn't give a monkeys about the brand. What they did was they were in a situation where they were making a distressed purchase as a result of an event that had occurred in their lives, and they were expressing that distress by arriving or alighting on Google and typing in a search phrase such as "I need a divorce" or "divorce lawyer Glasgow," etc. And our objective at that point was to make our customers' sites appear as prominently as possible and for them to convert into an inquiry.
Yeah.
You know, would you agree? Like, brand just wasn't a thing.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I mean, back when you and I started working together, it was so long ago now, some law firms didn't have websites. And then they all had websites. And then some started doing SEO. Then they all started doing SEO. Then some started doing Google Ads. So the online space relevant to our clients has become much more crowded, much more competitive over the years. So you do need to continually look for what that next differentiating factor is, and increasingly we're seeing that become brand. I think as people become increasingly sophisticated around their use of the internet, and you know, with people being all over social media, having a much deeper understanding of what a brand is, you know, I think it is really important that firms start to think of themselves in terms of brand, value proposition, and how that can be tailored to create a competitive advantage. I mean, the conversations I would have with lawyers over the years, the concept of the firm as a brand would exist in the minds of maybe one or two senior individuals who maybe founded the firm without ever having disseminated through the rank and file. So there was no consistent, informed idea of, this is who we are, and this is why we're different from them, and this is our value proposition, and this is, you know, this is how we present ourselves to our clients consistently across all facets of the business. So I do think that now is a much more important factor in terms of differentiation. Something we've been working on increasingly with our clients, helped by AI.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, you know, as part of that, what's ended up happening, which has been an interesting journey in itself, is that in order to develop the agency, I have brought in people with much more agency experience than me. And typically they come from marketing backgrounds where the brand and understanding the brand is the kernel or the core around which everything else revolves. Yeah. If that's not too many mixed metaphors, but and that's become very important for law firms, and particularly those where this traditionally would have not been that much of a big deal. And in my mind, there are a number of reasons behind that. And that one, paid advertising has become more competitive. If your brand is recognised on the search engine results pages, you are more likely to get a more cost-effective cost per click.
Yeah.
The second thing is that brand is also feeding into generative engine optimization and resulting in your brand achieving more mentions and again is more recognizable to the individual. The challenge for us has been developing a brand auditing service and positioning service that is cost effective enough for customers or law firms of the small to medium size that we typically deal with. And that really is where AI has come in for us.
Yeah, I mean, our managing director comes from big brand, background, working in London, etc., with some really large international brands, and the type of work he would do for his clients at that time would cost tens, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds, which is out of the reach of our law firm clients.
Yeah.
AI has allowed us to build a brand and marketing audit tool, which allows us now to create a really valuable piece of work for the clients around their brand. We're because of the team building agents to carry out that work. We can now do that in a matter of hours, whereas before it would have taken a matter of weeks. So just unaffordable. Whereas now it's something that they can actually invest in. I'm not going to say it's cheaply, but cost effectively, because the returns they'll get from this piece of work can be potentially huge.
Yeah.
So that's just one example of how AI has helped us improve what we do, help drive efficiency, helped us do more for our clients because we can at a much more cost-effective base.
And what is the value of that type of brand audit to our customers or potential customers?
I think that, our ideal client profile is, general practice, high street firms, up to SME size firms, busy lawyers, busy fee earning, things like brand and value proposition, all these kind of things, they're not really front and centre on a day-to-day basis, but they are really, really important. I think really understanding who you are and what you stand for as a firm and why you're different from the firm down the street is important. Understanding that tone of voice and ensuring consistency in how you speak to your target audience is really, really important from a brand journey perspective. We did this exercise for one of our clients last year, and not only did it help them see their position in the market against their competition, not only did it help them fully understand their ideal client profiles for different segments of their offering. All that work we did for them essentially is designed to help us do our job better from a marketing perspective. One of the best bits of feedback we got was from their internal teams, and it was, we get it now. That's who we are. That's why we're different from them. And it created a sense of joint purpose and shared vision that hadn't existed within the firm before. And I think that can be a pretty powerful thing also.
Mm-hmm. And from for the partners that we speak to, our whole focus is return on investment. Mm. How does that exercise contribute to that return on investment?
Well, this is maybe something you can edit in post-production. Our MD, Gav, he has that famous graph that shows if you're focused only on called direct action activities such as SEO and Google Ads and that kind of thing, your sales pipeline is likely to go up and down. It'll have peaks and it'll have troughs. If you overlay that direct action activity with brand, your sales pipeline increases at a much more consistent rate. You don't experience those same peaks and troughs. So investing in brand and building that brand awareness ultimately will have the effect of improving that sales pipeline, and as you say, potentially acquiring new business at a lower cost point because you have there's a seed of who you are already existing in the minds of the individuals who seek to contact you.
Which sectors in legal do you think have led the way from that point of view?
From a brand perspective, I would say probably personal injury firms. Even before I became involved in the legal sector over 15 years ago, I knew who Slater and Gordon and Irvin Mitchell were. If you do see or hear advertising on the radio or TV, it does tend to be from a personal injury perspective. I know you have some in-depth experience in that area in the past as well. Yeah,
I think they're very recognisable firms in Scotland and in England, and those were firms that relied traditionally very heavily on external sources for inquiries, and as a result of building their brand, have begun to develop consistent, steady lead flows that they are more in control of, where I've got absolutely no doubt that the cost per conversion is significantly less than they were paying for third parties, and also they're in control of them. And I think from the lead gen and online business generation point of view, personal injury has been a front runner, followed by some other categories, normally of a sort of retail focus.
Particularly particularly in London, we service a lot of law firms in London, and there's two firms that are very often cited to us by clients and prospects in London as being, we aspire to be like these firms, and that is Mishcon de Rea and Kings and Apley. Now, for any lawyers out there who are interested in the notion of brand around your law firm, I think it's worthwhile looking at what Mishcon do. I can't remember the chap's second name, but their head of brand and marketing is a chap, Elliot, something his name is. I think, in fact, he has equity partner equivalent status within the business, so that shows how highly they value what he brings to the table. But they have worked very hard and spent a lot of money on building their own particular brand. And, they're not doing it for no reason. It clearly works for them. And they have some, really, really high-profile clients on their books. So they're an interesting one. I say Kings and Apley, another one. In fact, is that not who the drummer from Blur went to work with for a while as a lawyer? Was it Kings and Apley?
All right, I don't know.
Yeah, I think he did. So have a look at the Mishcon de Rea website, LinkedIn, all that kind of stuff, and see how they do it.
So the message is, certainly the message that we are trying to get across to our law firm customers is that now is the time to really focus on your brand because of the value it can bring across your online business generation categories. It's if you work with us, it's within reach because of the effort that we've been putting into building our agentic solutions to produce the kind of output that would have taken months.
Yeah, and potentially cost you tens of thousands of pounds.
Yeah, there's that. But the critical thing for us now is that you then measure its impact. Because the proof's in the pudding, and that if you are able, if you are doing online business generation, then you should have a cost per conversion for every single area of business.
Yeah.
And if one is initiating brand marketing campaigns and brand awareness, etc., whether that be radio, above the line, paid advertising, sponsorship, whatever, one should be monitoring at all times your cost per conversion so you can know where to put additional spend to try and decrease your online or your paid cost per conversion.
Yeah. And even though we're almost in 2026, it's it's alarming the amount of firms we speak to that don't have that information, haven't really thought about having that information. They invest money in doing what we do, and they have some vague notion of, the phone's going, we're busy, it all feels okay. You need to be a bit more detailed than that around your metrics around business development and marketing and return on investment. I have sat in meetings with clients and asked for that information around, what cost per acquisition are you comfortable with, what's your own internal conversion rates on inquiries, what's your average fee value across different areas of the business. It can be like getting blood from a stone sometimes.
Yeah.
But spending a bit of time from a management perspective and really drilling down into that information and having it to hand, it just gives you a level of transparency around business performance that helps you make much more meaningful decisions going forward.
So for small to medium-sized firms, brand is more important than it's ever been. It's also within reach from a budgetary point of view to carry out the type of brand audits that previously would have been, £50,000, £60,000.
Yeah, and just to be clear, when we're talking about, we're not going to come in and suggest you need a new logo or a new website or a new colour palette. It's a much, much more involved process than that. It really does deep dive. It says ideal client profiles, market position, the competitiveness of the market for your areas of service. In fact, the last thing we'd suggest out of this process would be, a new visual identity or a new website. That's the last thing, and only if necessary. And very often from the work we've done so far, it's not necessary. Mm-hmm. You just need to unearth with more clarity and consistency who you are and what you believe in, and how you want to go about dealing with your clients.
Thanks very much, Chris, for your time. It's been, obviously I've been waiting for you. This is so far the culmination of every single episode to date.
Yeah, well, I thank you for the invite. As I said before, I don't know whether to be offended it's taken to season 2 to be asked on, or the old adage about season 2 always been better than season 1. So
yeah, we're just. With no disrespect, we're obviously just improving the quality of our guests.
Absolutely.
Right, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Cam.
Good stuff, guys.
Done.